Good morning. If you are logging in a few minutes early, welcome. I love that we have this time together. Let me know in chat where you're logging in from and what type of business you have. I always like to make my webinars about you who are here with me today. And today is a big one. Boy, it's a new topic for me to present on. Agentic AI, I think is new for a lot of us. So I'm very excited to present this with you today. Kathy logging in from San Diego and in biotech. Welcome. Yes, if anybody else wants to post in chat where you're logging in from, I'm just curious, but I'd like to know what type of business you're in because that helps me tailor what we're talking about today. And you've spent the time with me today. I want to make this about you. I want you to get what you're looking for out of this webinar today. And we will be starting in just 2 minutes. We start right at 10 o'clock. I'm here in California, so 10 o'clock my time. Yeah, we dive right in. Wow, I see Riverside, Honolulu, excellent. Health insurance, business consulting. All of the, whatever type of business you're in, AI can help. And I want to give you best practices today, no matter what AI system that you're using for your business. Oklahoma City, welcome. Like I said, we'll be starting in just 1 minute. Pennsylvania, excellent. And Northern California, perfectly. We've got inventors, a couple people in biotech, product design, wonderful. Pasadena, art director, excellent. Consulting and project management. Let's see. I see someone is saying I have a little echo on my audio. I'm moving my mic in closer. Let me know in chat if I sound okay to you. Okay, it is 10 o'clock. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining with me today. I'm excited about this webinar. When I first heard about MANUS, and maybe you haven't heard that one specifically, but basically agentic AIs that are becoming available for all of us to use. And I'll go into what that actually means in simple language today. But I knew that I wanted to do a presentation on it because I tried it and I was so impressed with what it could do for my business. So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. In this day of AI, kind of everything, this is really me. I'm sitting here with you today. That's why it's important for me that if you've got questions, I want to answer them. So I'll be checking over in chat periodically. And if you have questions during the presentation, that's when I want to answer them. I do see a question here popped up in Q&A. It's definitely easier if I can just see chat. So if you don't mind, post your questions in chat. Everyone will be getting a copy of the recording and the slides. So don't worry, you don't have to take notes today because we're going to give you the whole deck for you to review later. But a little bit about what I do and why I think AI is so exciting. So these days, my company, Harmony 3 Productions, and myself, because I do a lot of the work myself, we're called a content creator, digital marketing. That's anything online. So whether it's video, photography, motion graphics, making AI avatars, using the new tools that all of us have access to today, whether it's something like ChatGPT or something like Manus or Claude or whichever one you're using, I'm excited about that. And I try to get you excited about that in my webinar. So thank you very much for joining today. I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn and on all other social. I'm under my Harmony 3, my business name. I want you to think of today as if we're talking over coffee. This is what I do for my clients. I walk them through some of the new tools because a lot of times they'll get a tool and like, how do I use this? But you've got me today. So ask questions, and I want to dive in with you today on agentic AI. If you want my best tips on a semi-regular basis, I'd love to have you sign up for my newsletter. You can scan the QR code. Again, you'll get a copy of the slides and of the recording itself. Okay, I'm sure you've seen this abbreviation, TLDR. It means too long, didn't read. My presentation today is going to have a lot of information on the slides. So yes, it's going to be longer text on the slides, but I think it's worth it because the things that I'm going to be sharing with you, and again, you'll get a copy of the slides, don't worry about taking notes, I think are important so that you can go through the steps when you set something up for yourself. So we're talking about how to use MANUS for business and for marketing support. You don't have to have any kind of tech background, just bring your own knowledge of your business. I want to show you how I set up MANUS, how you can write clear instructions so that you get useful results, and how to organize your work and ask for specific deliverables from whichever AI you're using, and how to use and build simple workflows so that you can do things on repeat. We're also going to be giving best practices. So whatever tool you're using, this is about more than MANUS. I'm using MANUS as my example, but there's Claude, there's Perplexity has Computer out, Gemini, there's so many different ones, but basically the habits and the practices that I'm talking about today apply over any agentic AI tool, right? So different tools might have different features, but the principles are the same. You're going to give clear context. You're going to write specific requests and then absolutely review them before you use anything that AI gives you. I'm talking best practices here. I see a question real quick, is MANUS free? I don't think any of these tools are free. You'd have to research each one. MANUS does not, at this point that I know of, have a free version. I think their entry version is about $20 a month. But again, you'd really have to check on each of the different platforms. So whether you're using MANUS today or a different tool tomorrow, AI is moving in that direction, this agentic AI across the board. So everything that we're talking about today, you can use for whatever platform you're actually using. So I use the term agentic. So what does that mean, right? It's an important shift that's happening now. So it's the move from something like ChatGPT that we're all very familiar with that responds to your questions to an AI that actually can act on your behalf. So the old way is you type a question and you get an answer and you manage every step yourself. The new way with agentic AI is you give that tool a goal and it figures out the steps and does the research and builds the output and comes back with a finished result. You're viewing work, not directing every move. It's pretty cool. And here's what that looks like in practice. It takes action, not just giving you an answer. Agentic tools, and again, when we start the presentation, I'm going to just say MANUS, but just so you know, there's a lot of them out there. You can use any of them, but these best practices work for all of them. It can browse the web, read documents, create files, and work through multi-steps without you having to manually manage each one of those steps. And it works autonomously. You describe what you need, and the tool builds a plan and execute it. You review it, ding, 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 absolutely, you review everything, the total output when it's ready. It holds your context. The best tools these days let you store your business instructions. I'm going to show you how to create your own business instructions, your brand guidelines, and your preferences. So everything that it's doing for you is shaped by your business from the start, not built from scratch every time. And it delivers finished work. It's not a draft copy and paste, right? It's a complete document, a researched report, a proposal, a content plan, ready to use But yes, you edit it, you review it. So 4 terms you need to know about. A task, a single session in MANUS that you are interacting with MANUS. It's similar to what ChatGPT calls a chat. It's kind of the same thing. Each task is a working session. You also have projects. A project is a dedicated space where MANUS remembers your business context, right? Your instructions, and you're going to put those in, and your preferences. And everything builds on what came before in that project. The project instructions are what it's going from. It's your guidelines that you write inside the project that you're going to shape. Again, I'm going to show you step by step. MANUS works for your business every time. It understands because you've given it that information. It's your brand voice and your audience. It's your rules. A workflow is a repeatable process that you can define once and reuse. The nice thing is MANUS will sometimes, and pretty much all the time, will say, do you want me to put this in a workflow that you can use again? So it works with you. It prompts you to be able to use it correctly. Okay. I'm going to give you step by step. When I first heard about MANUS, it was in a webinar. Yeah, it was a webinar I took a long time ago. And I thought, this is cool, but there weren't start here, and this is what this does, and this is what this term means. So I had to pick through it, and it was difficult, but I was so excited. I loved it and knew I had to share it. But important for me is that I can show you, I think, the steps that was missing when I was learning it. So I'm hoping that will be very helpful for you. And again, chat's open. If you've got questions while we're doing this, I'm going to keep checking over there. Okay, when you start, you log into manus.im, right? So that's the first screen that pops up, what you see right here. At the center is that simple text box, very similar to on something like ChatGPT. What can I do for you is what it says. This is where you type your request, and that request is called a task, very similar to what was called a chat in ChatGPT. You don't need to set up anything there to start. You can just type what you need, and MANUS gets to work. But there are better ways to do it, and I'm going to show you that. At the top right, you're going to see sign in or sign up, and if you're new, you just click it, and it will take you to your sign up form. It takes really less than a minute. Okay, I see a question here. Which tool do I recommend to create the product titles, listings, and mock-ups for my e-commerce seller account? Great question. MANUS can help you with that. I also use ChatGPT concurrently with MANUS. Another trick that I use is I might ask those questions in ChatGPT and then also in MANUS. But once you have your brand persona and set up in MANUS, I think MANUS would be the place to ask for advice on those. So I think MANUS could help you with that question. All right. When you get inside MANUS, right, you've signed up or signed in, this is what your workspace looks like. So again, you've got that, what can I do for you? And then you have a bunch of stuff over here on the left. So on the left, you've got project section. That's where you organize your work. Every project is a dedicated space for a specific area of your business. You might have one for marketing. You might have one for research, one for social media. Everything inside a project stays together. You've also got a place for recent tasks. So those are the last few things that you have asked MANUS to do. You can go back and review any of those at any time. The center task box, that's again where you're going to type your request. It works just like a text message. You tell MANUS what you need and you click the arrow and it gets to work. The top of the sidebar, that's where you're going to see new task. It's right there on the left under where it says MANUS. That's for anytime you want to start a fresh request, you just click on that. Before you start asking MANUS to do anything, set up at least one project. Otherwise, they're going to be scattered. And I really think that's important to be organized in here. That's where you're going to store all your information. But I suggest the very first thing is you start a project called My Business, and you would call it the name of your business. That's where you're going to put your brand information and your instructions for MANUS, so it always knows who you are and how you work. And then we're going to take that information anytime you make a new project for your specific business. All right. In that first project, right? So you're going to create your first project, My Business. Again, I would call it the name of your business. There's a tab called Project Instructions, right? The minute you make a project, there's a space that's going to say Project Instructions. This is the most important thing that you're going to set up. It's where you write the standing information that MANUS reads before every single task in that particular project. Think of it as a continually, because you can change, you can add to it all the time. So it's a live document, but it's what is a briefing for MANUS for anything it's doing for you inside that particular project. You write it once, and from that point on, everything you do in that project is going to abide by these project instructions. It knows your business, your audience, your tone, how you want to write and speak, and your rules, even before you start typing. You don't need to fill it in every time. You're going to start with a business overview and your tone, and you're going to add more as you go along. So we're going to have two things that I want you to create. Again, I'll walk you through your business overview and your business persona. Both of them, MANUS can help you build, and then you're going to put it in the project instructions for your business and any other individual projects you want to set up separately for your business, because this is about you. All right, so how a project in MANUS actually works. Each project has its own set of project instructions. So for me, I use it for multiple clients. So each client gets its own project. Then there's individual projects that could happen under that main project, or there could be tasks under that project. If you're setting this up for yourself, your main project is your business. Instructions don't carry over from one project to another unless you want to upload them in the instructions for that new project. And I'm going to show you how once you get those instructions, you can download it as a PDF and then just upload that every time you have a new project. So if you write your business overview and brand persona, you're going to put that into My Business project. MANUS only knows that operation when you're working inside that specific project. If you create a separate, say, marketing content project, and you don't add instructions there, MANUS starts fresh with no context about your business. Now, I have seen it pull information from other, things that I've been working on, but I want it to be clear, very clear in each project what you're looking for, what the instructions are on that project. So what's the right way to set that up? Well, there's two approaches. I think both are really valid depending on how you are working. So this is what I normally recommend. Option one. It's one master project for everything. So you would create one, and again, if you're a solopreneur or you're working, this is your MANUS account, you're working on it for your business, this is how I would do it. Create one project, for example, My Business, again, whatever the name of your business is, and you're going to put your brand instructions in there. You run all the tasks inside that project. It's simple. Everything in one place. MANUS always has your context. It's best for solo business owners or people, maybe you're just getting started, because you can always add more. Now, option two is multiple projects, and each with the brand instructions copied in. This can also work with you, whatever you're comfortable with. This would be creating separate projects for different areas like marketing content, competitor research, which it does great at. Social media, it does great at that. But in each one, so different projects, you're going to paste that brand persona and business overview into the project instructions. So it's always got the same instructions for all your projects. And then you're going to add specific rules for that particular project on top of what you've given it. So marketing content could have your brand info plus specific rules that apply to marketing. Your competitor research project could have all your brand info plus very specific research tools. Let's see, I see a couple of questions here. Are there defined project names that MANUS will recognize? No, you can make them whatever you want, yes. How do you tell MANUS which is the project you're referencing? You click on that project that you're working on, then you are in that particular project. And then it's reading the instructions for that project. Okay, my practical recommendation, start with the one project called My Business, because like I said, you can always add projects or your actual business name. You put everything in there. Once you're comfortable and you have more tasks to organize, you can create additional projects and copy your brand instructions into each one as that starting point. The key thing is that project instructions stay inside the project they're written in. If you want MANUS to know your brand in a new project, you need to add those same instructions in there also. The easiest fix is just to copy and paste your core instructions from one project to the next when you create a new one. All right. Every project needs to know who you are. Every project in MANUS starts with a blank slate. Your brand information doesn't carry over automatically from one to the next. So the rule is simple. Every project you create should include your business overview and your brand persona. And I keep referencing those two things, and I am going to show you how I create them for myself and my clients. You're going to put those in the project instructions. Add those first, then layer in anything specific to that project on top. The shortcut, write your core instructions once in your first project, and every time you create a new project, you just copy them as a starting point. The exception, if you prefer to keep everything in one project, then you don't need to repeat anything. One project, all your tasks, all your content in one place, that's the easiest place to start. Okay, I see a question from Sam. Excuse me, I have 2 companies. For each company, I need to have separate projects. That's what I would recommend, yes. You're suggesting to keep topics separate, like marketing, sales, admin. You have 2 companies. You could only, if you want, have 2 projects, one for each company, and then under each company, you're working on a task, but it's going into that project. So that would be the simplest. You could have a marketing project for business A and a marketing project for business B. I think that's getting a little confusing, but whatever makes sense for you. But if you've got 2 companies, I would start with 2 separate projects. You might have some overlap on there, which is great, which is fine. But I would have 2 separate projects, because if they're 2 separate companies, you are going to have some differences there. I see a question that is a great question, and we're going to address that. It says, we're able to do some of these things with other AI platforms, something actually different about MANUS. As I would, is it Rokia? Let me know what platforms you're talking about. On one of my beginning slides, I said, this is where the AI platforms are moving to. So yes, there are many that can offer similar things to what I'm talking about. And that's why everything I'm telling you is best practices. Whatever AI tool you're using, these are best practices for you can use. I'm using MANUS as my example because that's the one that I use. Even ChatGPT is now able to do a lot of these things. I do think MANUS for me is really valuable in what it can do behind the scenes. Like I go, to bed at night and I come up in the morning and there's things that are done for me, which is remarkable. Okay. You're going to create your brand persona and you're going to use it again and again. So once MANUS creates your brand persona. Basically, you're creating it using MANUS's help. You can download it as a PDF and keep it as a reference document for your business. You can use that in any of whatever AI platform you want to use. And we got the question that there's a lot that can do this. Yes, but having this brand persona in your business on a PDF, you can upload that to whichever one you're using. Okay. When you attach a file in a project, even a PDF, MANUS can read it and use it as context for your task. It's just as if you were typing in those written instructions. So having it on PDF is kind of handy because you can put it wherever you need it. So your workflow could look like this. You ask MANUS to create your brand persona in your first project. You're going to review it and refine it and download it as a PDF. And then when you create a new project, you upload that PDF into the Files tab, and in that new project, instructions and that MANUS should refer to the attached brand document, and it will. This means you only have to build your persona once. We had a question, if you have two businesses, I would build 2 business personas. But from that point, it travels with you into every new project or every new platform that you're using. Okay, task 1, you're going to make your first project, and I would call it My Business. But before you ask MANUS to do anything, you got to give it something to work with. So you're going to build your business overview. MANUS needs to understand your business because otherwise it's going to be generic and it's not going to help. Your first task is to give it your raw materials and ask MANUS to write a business overview for you. Now remember, we're getting a business overview and we're going to get a business persona. 2 things that are being super valuable for you. What you're going to give MANUS, so you can upload documents, PDFs, or you can even give it links. I would give it the link to your website. You can type in a short description of what you do and who you serve, your list of services or products, any existing bio that you have, your about page or company description, anything you've already got. So you could type in something like, here's some information about my business. Please read it, write a clear, organized business overview, include what my business does, who I serve, the main problems I solve, and what I offer. Keep the language plain and professional. Format it in short sections with clear headings. What happens next? MANUS is going to read all your material. It's going to write the overview. You review it, make any corrections, and save it. And this becomes the foundation for everything that follows. Now, how do you specifically ask MANUS to do that for you? Like I said, there's a lot of information on these slides and you're going to get a copy of the slides, but I just want to be here to talk you through it. Okay, how to give MANUS your business overview. So write a short paragraph, maybe 3 to 5 sentences, describing what your business does. List your main services or products. Just the names and a 1-line description is plenty to start with. Describe your ideal client in plain terms, a clear description of the person that you most want to help. And then add your tone and voice, 3 to 5 adjectives that describe how your brand communicates. Then you're going to paint, like, is it conversational and warm and fuzzy? Is it very professional and you use a lot of high-tech jargon? Whatever it is, you're just giving raw information to MANUS. Then you paste that, remember, you make that first project, My Business, you're going to paste that into the project instructions in your My Business project. That becomes the foundation. I do want you to think about, notice the red flag here, sharing your public links with MANUS. Only share links that are already public. Don't share anything that requires a login or contains private client information with any AI tool, absolutely. Giving MANUS access to your public online presence helps it understand your business really quickly and accurately and get a sense of who you are. So useful links to share, again, public links, your main website homepage, your about page or your team page, your services, your product page, your LinkedIn profile or business page. Now, sometimes it can't access LinkedIn profiles, but put it in and it will tell you whether it can access it or not. Any public blog posts or articles you've written. What about a portfolio or case study if you have one? Now, again, be careful. Case studies, are there any proprietary information in there? Don't upload anything proprietary. Maybe you have a case study and you have names redacted, or you're talking in general terms. Be very careful what you're uploading to any AI. MANUS can read through documents that you give it, and it can use that information to build an accurate picture of your business, which is what we really want. It saves you time on writing everything from scratch. I can't say this enough, and those are my little red flags on the screen to remind you. Only share links that are already public. Don't share anything that requires a login or contains private client information. Someone is saying they joined late. Yes, you will be getting a copy of the presentation. Okay, what to upload, what to leave out. Safe and helpful to upload. Your brand guidelines. If you have a brand guideline, a lot of people have a style guide. If you have one, upload that. Sample blog posts or articles, email newsletters that you're proud of, because again, we want to share the writing style, the content that we like. Maybe there's past proposals. Client names should definitely be removed. A list of your services and pricing if it's not confidential. Testimonials or case study summaries. Again, be very careful not giving client information away. Avoid uploading, again, my little red flags on the screen, client names, signatures, financial statements, tax documents, personal identification documents, anything with password or login credentials or private client communications. To me, that's a hard no to upload. Okay, now, once you've shared your website and a few links, you can ask MANUS to do research and write the first draft of your brand overview. So an example way that you could ask that, please visit my website at, give it your URL, and my about page, give it the URL. Based on what you find, write a brand overview that includes what my business does, who I serve, my tone and voice, and what makes me different. Keep it clear and practical. This is going to be used as that background information, other things you're going to ask it. MANUS is going to read your pages, pull out all the key information, and write a very, very structured overview. You review it, you correct anything that's off because it can make mistakes, and save it as your foundation document. So, how to review what it gives you. The first output is a starting point. It is not a finished product. Read it fully before editing. Resist the urge to change things as you go. Read the whole thing first. Note what is accurate. So you start by identifying what MANUS got right. This tells you what information came through clearly. It could be that you need to give it more information or be more specific in what you gave it. Note what's going wrong or what's missing. Be specific. You could tell it the tone's too formal is more useful than I don't like it. Give targeted corrections. Tell MANUS exactly what to change. The second paragraph should focus on residential clients, not commercial ones. You are driving. You are what is going to make this document incredibly valuable for you. Ask for a revised edition. Say, please revise based on my feedback and show me the updated version. A simple rule, again, I will continue to stress this, on what not to share. If you wouldn't post it publicly on your website, don't upload it to MANUS. It's not because MANUS is unsafe. It's simply good project with any digital tool that you're using. Specifically, avoid any document with real clients' private information, financial records, bank details, tax filings, legal documents with confidential terms, employee personal information, passkeys. Be the best advocate for your own business. Be aware, eyes open if you are using any AI tools. I use them all the time. It has exponentially changed my business. but I'm careful, and I encourage you to be careful too. Before uploading any file, ask yourself, does it contain anything I wouldn't want like a brand new team member to see on their very first day? If yes, leave it out or, redact the sensitive parts. Okay. Once your business overview is complete and you're happy with it, now you're going to ask MANUS to build your brand persona from it. You don't need to start from scratch here because MANUS already has your overview from the previous task. Just ask it to go one step further. You could type in something like, using the business overview, so you've already got that we just created, write a brand persona for my business. Include my tone of voice, the words and phrases that sound like me, the words I want to avoid, how I communicate with my audience, and any rules that apply to all my content. Write it in a format that I can save and reuse. So what you're going to get is a complete brand persona document that captures how your business sounds. So we've got the business overview, and now we've got how your business sounds, not just what it does. Review it, adjust anything that doesn't feel right, and download it as a PDF when you're satisfied. And that document, along with your business overview, goes right into the project instructions or files tab of every new project you create for your business moving forward. Clarifying question, is brand persona different from brand overview? Yes. Perfect timing. Here's my slide to describe the differences. The business overview, that's the factual foundation of your business. It answers the question, what does this business do? It covers what you do, who you serve, what problems you solve, what you offer, how you are different. It's descriptive and informational. Think of it as the briefing you give to somebody on the first day they work with you. The brand persona, that's the personality layer that sits on top of the facts. It answers the question, how does this business communicate? It covers your tone of voice, the words you use, the ones you don't use, how you sound in writing, the values you express, and the rules that apply to all your content. It's not about what you do. It's about how you talk about what you do. So in one sentence distinction, the business overview tells MANUS the facts about your business. The brand persona tells MANUS how your business sounds. You need both. One without the other really gives MANUS an incomplete picture. Again, this webinar I made for you because these were the exact questions I had when I was first starting with MANUS. So hopefully this can help you skip ahead and get started on the right foot. All right. The second task, so you've built your, what your business is. Now, how are you going to build that brand persona? It's a written description of how you communicate, and really it's your the business personality. It's not a logo, it's not a color palette, although I want you to upload those also. It's the personality and voice behind everything your business says and does. So think of it this way. If your business was a person, what would they be like? How would they talk to a new client? And what words would they never use? What do they really care about the most? And what makes them different than everybody else? A brand persona answers those questions in writing so that anybody, including MANUS, can communicate consistently on your behalf. So without that brand persona, every output is going to sound a little bit generic. We want to help any AI tool sound like you if it's writing, representing your business. So without a brand persona, MANUS is going to write in a very neutral, generic tone. The content can be technically correct, but it might not sound like you, and you're going to spend a lot of time editing and rewriting. So with a brand persona, MANUS knows your voice and your values and your audience, and the output sounds like your business from the first draft. You spend less time editing, but I want you to edit everything that it's giving you and more time using. The bottom line, your brand persona is the single most important thing you can give MANUS before you start asking it to create content. Brenda's saying, should we include an elevator pitch along with the brand persona? Absolutely, because it can use that to help write that. So that can go in your what you're giving it to create that brand persona. Absolutely. Let's see, I've seen another question here. Elizabeth saying, it's been using ChatGPT, but want to move over to Claude or Manus. Do I have any suggestions for bringing the best of my work from Chat into Claude? Would you recommend asking Chat to write my business overview and brand persona and then use that in Manus? I use both of them. I use both of them very consistently. Manus does bigger, more levels of things it's actually doing rather than Chat. But again, ChatGPT, everything is moving towards this model. So ChatGPT at some point, and who knows, could be soon, can maybe do all of this stuff. I don't directly take everything over, but I have built I've used ChatGPT for years, so it pretty much knows all this stuff, but I've created that brand persona and the business overview using content from ChatGPT, take it into Manus. That has been my process because right now I am using both of them. But if you haven't been using both of them, you could start with Manus, or again, any of the other tools like this. And ChatGPT is now able to do a lot of this stuff, not all of it, but everything seems to be moving in this direction. Okay, what to include in your brand persona? Use this as your checklist. So your business name, what you do, 1 or 2 clear sentences, who you serve, your ideal client, described in plain terms, your tone of voice, your core values, what makes you different, your differentiator. If you don't know what that is, Manus can even help you figure that out. Words and phrases that you use, words and phrases that you avoid, your offers, your services, and examples of your style, because that could be links, or you could give it copy from your newsletters or even your social media posts. Is giving Manus access to my emails to help you manage them a bad idea? That's got to be a very individual decision. For me personally, I am not doing that because there's too much subtlety to the type of emails that I get for my business. It's mostly they're asking me specific, questions about consulting, or I'm working back and forth. Right now, that wouldn't work for me. There are a lot of businesses that are doing similar things to having Manus review your emails, writing preliminary drafts for replies, and of course you review them. Again, very personal decision on that. Olivia is saying, is Manus free? It is a subscription platform at this point. Okay, so you want your brand persona to look like on the left, very neat files, not just this jumble of stuff. And Manus can really help you get that into a document that's nice and neat. So what could your business persona look like in practice? For example, whatever your business, a small marketing consultancy focused on independent retailers. The tone and voice, warm, direct, practical. We speak like a trusted advisor, not a corporate consultant. Ideal client, independent retail shop owners, aged 30 to 55. What we never say, leverage synergies, disruptive innovation. What we always do, lead with practical advice, use real examples, keep recommendations. So it can help you build something this specific. Again, good to upload to every new project. So how are you going to turn your brand overview and your persona into those project instructions? Say you have a new project. Once your brand overview is accurate, you're going to turn that into project instructions. So this is your brand overview, and I'm going to say also your persona, because in any project, new project, I would want them both uploaded. If you're running under just one project, your business, they're both uploaded there, you don't have to do it again. Again, those things become the standing guidance Manus is going to follow every time you work in any project. If you're making those for your business, any project you make for your business. So from this brand overview, it could say something like Studio Verde is a small interior design consultancy based in Austin. We work with homeowners who want calm, livable spaces. Our tone is warm and grounded. We avoid trendy languages. To this project instruction, You are supporting Studio Verde. You're telling Manus, you are supporting Studio Verde. An interior design consultancy in Austin, always write in warm, grounded tone. Our audience is, never use trendy design buzzwords. The focus, the difference is project instructions are written as direct guidance for Manus, not a description of your business. So if you're in a new project, you've already loaded your business overview and your business persona. So it already knows that. If you're working in a new project for your business, you've given it all of that stuff. It knows your business. Now, in the project instructions, you're going to say, use the business overview and persona I've uploaded for this project. Always refer to that, the instructions that I've uploaded, right? You don't have to rewrite them every time. So if you're working in a new project, you've given it that, and then you're going to make a task in that project, what you want it to do. If you're running under that one project, your business, every time you make a task, you don't have to re-upload that because it knows your business because it's in that project. Where in Manus should we include the brand persona related content or links? When you first go into Manus, you are going to make a project and there is project instructions. For example, you would make that first project the name of your business. So my business, whatever it is. In the project instructions, you are going to give it your brand persona, your brand overview, but you have to create those first. So that's what I'm saying. You're going to start by uploading information into Manus so it can help you write those documents that you're going to use every single time. Okay, so how do those project instructions work? Project instructions tell Manus how to work with you. There's a set of standing guidelines you write once for each project. So every time you start a new task inside that project, you don't have to start from scratch. Manus will read those instructions first. Think of them as a briefing. Remember, new teammate, new day. Here's what our business does. Here's who we serve. Here's how we communicate. Here's what we never do. Here's what great work looks like. You don't have to repeat it for every task. Once you write it in a project, Manus does it automatically. This is what makes projects so much more powerful than one-off chats. Okay, I see another question here. Could I have my main business project and then sub-projects so you can have sub-projects like marketing, content, another one for research? Yes, it's not a sub-project underneath the main project. It is a new project. So if you have your main project, your business, and you want a separate project, say marketing, right? And that's how I do it. I take my brand persona and my brand document, upload that in the project instructions for that project, and then there'll be tasks, marketing tasks, right? So my main one is where I built that information, and then I have marketing. Maybe I have leads or whatever you want to put in there as projects. And you've already got the documents in the project instructions. You're going to upload those. So for the project, any tasks that you're doing in a project, you have your set of instructions. Does a project comprise multiple documents, and how do you tell Manus which is which? Yes, so I'm seeing another question. Can I show an actual demo? Let me show you Manus real quick. Okay. All right. So this is Manus. I already showed you what it looks like when you first log in. It says, what can I help you with? So I used Manus to help me make this presentation. Look at all of this. Look at all of this. That is amazing. This is one project, right, that I asked Manus to help me with, right? Look at everything it did. It does all of this on its own. A lot of this stuff, I set it up, I went to bed, right? I said, create the webinar deck using the provided instructions, and I had given it in the project instructions what I wanted it to do, right? When I say check everything, you can see how many revisions I made. It was just a mix of it not understanding what I said or me not giving it the right amount of information. So I actually asked it, what could I do to make it more clear for MANUS? And it told me what it needed from my task information, what I was asking. It gave me corrections. I see there are people that are posting like, well, ChatGPT, or I have another thing that does a lot of this. So when I first made the presentation, it was saying, oh, ChatGPT is just, answers questions. I go, well, no, it's not, because I use it every day and it's doing a lot of this stuff. So I love this, that it says, I said, can't ChatGPT deliver finished deliverables now? That needs to be reframed. So again, really review what it's giving you. For example, it can give a whole PowerPoint presentation. MANUS replied to me saying, you're completely right again. And this is an important correction. So I had to stay on top of it. And that's why I keep stressing for you to review everything that any AI agent gives to you. All right, so let's see. Most AI tools can produce great deliverables. What makes MANUS different that it can work through a complex multi-step task on its own? So it says, yes, framing it that way is, as of today, a really good way to make it hold up. One nuance worth knowing, OpenAI's newer agents like Operator and the deep research feature in ChatGPT are moving in this direction also. So I did see a question saying, Chat does a lot of this. Everything is moving to this direction. So everything I'm talking to you about today, best practices, whatever AI you're using, these steps will be really helpful. All right, let's see. So if I was going to make a new project, so I would go over here. I'm going to open the sidebar. So you can see there's a new task. There's my projects. To make a new project, I would click this little plus button, right? Create the project name. So for example, if you're new to this, remember we said start with your first project. So you would call it your business. So I could put my business. So actually, I'll do a little demo here. I'll put the name of my business. Instructions. This is what you give it. So you would give it your website. You would give it all the things that we talked about in some of those flyers. You would put it right here in instructions, and then you create that project. All right. Now, every project can have tasks in it. So once you've got your projects, and you can see here on the left, I've got a whole selection of projects, I can have tasks. So if I want to make a new task, I can certainly click on right here where it says new task. Perfect. So I'm going to type in, I'm going to put, give me a one paragraph on the benefit of MANUS for making social media posts. Very short, right? And I'm just going to click go. It says MANUS is thinking. On it, let me research and craft a concise paragraph on the benefits of MANUS for making social media. It does think longer, I think, than ChatGPT. Oh, here it is. Here's a paragraph highlighting the benefits of using MANUS. MANUS revolutionizes social media content creation by acting as an autonomous, all-in-one agent, capable of handling every step of the process from ideation to execution. By leveraging its ability to gather up-to-date information and analyze trends, absolutely, MANUS can create highly relevant, engaging copy, blah, 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 blah. Then I love that it gives you suggested follow-ups. Draft a social media post about the benefits of MANUS. Create an image to accompany the social media post. Generate a short video script highlighting MANUS's social media capabilities. it's like following the breadcrumbs. It's working with you, it's helping you. So this task I could put in MANUS webinar, right? Okay, let's see. I've taken down my website since I'm changing my business model. How is MANUS or other AI giving me a format and details for a new website? You can ask it for that, but websites are so important for your business. I would not rely on an AI agent to really give you everything that you're going to need for your website. I do believe that a professional web designer, developer is very important these days. Even for guidance and review, because there's so many things when you're building a website you don't even know to ask. So yes, it can be extremely helpful, but something that is that valuable for your business, I would absolutely, definitely do your research, maybe have a human with a lot of experience on that help with building your website. SCORE has a lot of webinars on building your website best practices. That is not my area of expertise, but I would absolutely take a few SCORE webinars and see if you can get a feel from that. Because again, a SCORE webinar, you've got a real person there to talk to. Okay, let's see. Someone's saying that MANUS was really recently purchased by Meta. Yes, so Meta, Facebook, that Meta. Facebook or Meta has incorporated elements of MANUS into a lot of their products. I still subscribe to the standalone MANUS, and that is what I'm showing. Again, something like Claude or Perplexity's computer. Everything we talked about today, best practices will work across everything. Anything that you're using with AI, you need to be comfortable with it. Your own self. Are you comfortable sharing that information? Are you comfortable giving it access? Like we had the question about giving it access to your email. All of those are very, very personal decisions for you. What I use it for content creation, for competitor analysis is amazing. I'm comfortable doing that. But again, any of these AI tools really become a personal decision, whether you're going to use them and how much information you're going to share with them. Okay, how to prompt MANUS to work across projects. Well, the first thing that I would ask is ask MANUS. So I would put, how can I instruct you to work across? I can't spell, and I love that none of these tools care. They still give me a great response. Okay, I said, how can I instruct you, MANUS, to work across projects? Great questions. Here's the main ways you can instruct me to work across project. Reference previous work directly. In any new task, simply describe what was done before and what you want carried forward. For example, in my last project, we built a landing page with X style. Now apply that same style to a new page for product Y. Provide context or files. You can upload or share files. Use a master brief or style guide, which is what I was saying before. You built your persona. That's your master brief. Chain tasks with clear instructions. You can give me sequential instructions that build on one another. First do X, then using the output of that do Y, then compile everything into Z. So you have a question like that, ask MANUS. As I told you before, I was having a lot of corrections when I was building this webinar. And I asked, I said, what can I do to help you in your output so I don't have to make all these corrections? And it gave me certain things to ask it, so that on every task, I was asking it, what do you need from me to make the output better? Okay. Somebody's laughing. Guess I should ask MANUS. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, we just have a few more minutes. Let me pop back into the project. Like I said, you're going to get the slide deck with everything, but I just want to review real quickly. So your project instructions, example project instructions for a marketing project. Again, you're going to get all this. It's going to give you examples for that type. What about defining your audience in plain terms, how to make it sound like you? Something we should all think about for any of our marketing is content pillars. These are the main topics your business talks about. Letting MANUS know what they are can help it frame the responses so that it fits one of your content pillars. If you don't know what your content pillars are, MANUS can help you figure that out too. Show MANUS what looks good. We already talked about that. Uploading things that you like, that you're proud of. Maybe it's a blog post or an article. You can paste that example directly into your project instructions. What about using MANUS to help you run your entire content operation? So this would be a great idea to have a dedicated marketing content project. You can upload, again, your brand persona. Things that you can run inside a project like that would be Instagram captions for this week based on your content pillars, or turn this blog post into a LinkedIn article, write subject line and preview text for our next email newsletter. Now, ChatGPT does a fabulous job at all of this. I use both. Again, a lot of these are really personal decisions, how you want to use a lot of these tools. Context is a background for MANUS, and it needs that context from you to do the good work, to make it represent your brand. It's the why and who behind your request. It tells MANUS what situation it is and who's going to read that output. So weak context, write me an email about our new service. A strong context would be write an email to our existing clients who have worked with us before. They already know our brand. We're announcing a new group coaching program that starts next month. The goal is to get them to book a discovery call. So if you find yourself editing MANUS's output a lot, to add context that you forgot to include, add that context into your project instructions so you never have to think about it again. So we are at 11 o'clock. Thank you again so much. It is an exciting time with AI out there these days. I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, I'm Ronnie Ramos, and on most other social, Harmony 3 Productions. See, a couple of questions here. Someone is asking about Perplexity. Like I said, Claude, Perplexity, they're all kind of the same. Again, everything I talked about today, best practices, whatever AI tool you're using for your business. Thank you so much. I'd love to see what you're working on. Let's connect on LinkedIn. Have a wonderful day.